Will you be left behind if you don't use LLMs to code? I get this question a lot. I want to address it here in a long form video because I have a lot to say on it. As written, it's a little amorphous, it's a little vague, so I want to break down all the possible interpretations of that question. Now, if you don't know me, I'll do my little introduction for you. Yo, what's up, everyone? My name's Dave and you suck at programming. My name's Dave, I like to program, I find it very enjoyable. I have the channel on YouTube called You Suck at Programming. We're over 100,000 subscribers now, super awesome. And I like to program. I enjoy programming, and I don't use AI and I don't use LLMs on this channel. I like to go through projects step by step from scratch and build something useful at the end of a lot of my videos. Some of them are just like educational, I teach things, but a lot of my videos are starting a project from nothing and finishing with a finished product. Now, I typically do bash scripting, but I've also done some programs in Rust. I think we've done some C on this channel, so I do branch out when as appropriate. I definitely have a more DevOps kind of like sysadmin slant to a lot of my code that I write, a lot of the programs I work on. That's what I find enjoyable. I say all of this to put my biases out there, because obviously if you don't know who I am, you just click on this video. I want to put all this stuff out there up front so you know a bit about me before you hear my opinion on the matter, because this is important. When you ask someone a question and you get an answer from someone, you should always consider the source. Like, this is really important. Even if you like the person, even if you watch my stuff, you know who I am, always consider the source. Like, where am I getting this information from? What are their biases? I prefer to just be upfront and transparent with you guys. It's because in my experience, there are two types of people out there. There are the people that will be upfront and transparent about their biases. Hey, that's great. There are the other people that will say, I don't have any biases. And what that means is they're unaware of what their biases are. They do have them, and they subconsciously, on a level that they're unaware of, control, and control might be too strong a word. They definitely color how the person sees the world. So I like to just come right out and say, like, yeah, I enjoy programming. I don't personally use LLMs, but I get this question a lot. So let's dive into it. First things first, will you be left behind? Pause right there. Behind from what? Like, I mean that because there's the obvious interpretation of this. There's the way that I immediately interpret it, which is like, well, my peers are going to be using this and they're going to be more productive. They're going to be faster at coding. They seem to get to the end result product faster than I can. So if I'm going to get like a job in this field, I need to be able to perform at their level. So I have to be using these tools too. That's how I interpret it, but I snuck a lot of stuff in there. Is this person asking me this about a job? Is it because of their peers? Do they already feel like they're being left behind? What's actually going on here? What's the finished product? Is the finished product code? Is the finished product that you're at a job and you have to finish a project, so the finished product is committed code? Or is the finished product your ability to understand it and learn something? If you're using AI as a tool to like learn something versus using AI as a tool to get to the finished product faster. I'm not trying to be needlessly pedantic here. I'm trying to say there are many ways of interpreting these questions. I want to break down all of these. So first things first, left behind from what? I like to program as a hobby. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I like the problem solving behind it. I like making content, I like sharing cool stuff and learning cool stuff about it. So are you falling behind as a hobby if you're not using LLMs? No, because a hobby is what you do. Like, you don't need to be fast or efficient at it to have it be your hobby and have it be something you enjoy. For example, if I were like a bodybuilder or something, and I'd be like, oh my God, am I falling behind because I'm not, I don't know, using steroids or injecting myself with experimental Chinese peptides I've gotten off the internet? No, like, what am I falling behind? It's something I enjoy doing. It's my hobby. If I'm comparing myself to others and maybe I'm going into a competition where I might get paid for it, hey, we're trending over into job territory. You see what I'm saying there? So if it's just your hobby, no, you're not falling behind, because I don't believe you can fall behind in your hobbies. Like, I don't know how that would make sense, because like a hobby is something you do for yourself. What would you actually be falling behind? Your own concept of where you should be? I mean, yeah, you can put that kind of pressure on yourself. That's a whole different issue. But no, I don't think you're going to be falling behind if this is your hobby. All right, now that we got that established, though, I think this question was more towards people who are maybe in school or they want to get a job in the tech field, right? Because I know a lot of people are in school and they're in school so they can get a job in the field. That's a whole different issue. We can talk about how school can sometimes be about learning, but it can also be kind of getting you towards a job, and it's kind of become a little bit gamified and geared towards jobs, and learning has kind of gone on the back burner there. Whole separate issue. I can make a whole separate video about it. You guys let me know if you want me to yap about that. I'll spare you now for this video. If you think that you're going to fall behind in your job, there are two different ways to interpret this. Again, are you in this job or are you looking to get a job? They're very similar, so I don't even know if I need to break into the two specifics there. But like I said, my personal biases, I don't really use LLMs. I don't use AI to aid in my programming. However, again, consider the source. I've quit my job before in the past and taken a year and a half off, and I am currently unemployed now because I quit my job about a month ago. So I get burned out from tech, and I like to take time off. I'm not coming at you as someone who's job maxing in their life, okay? I prefer to actually just not do that stuff as a job and just keep it as a hobby because I really, really like programming, and doing it as a job can kind of take a little bit of the fun out of it. And personally, I've seen people around me, coworkers and stuff, starting to incorporate more AI and LLMs into their projects when I was working. And it seemed like all it really did was sort of speed run the burnout process. That's my own hypothesis. I can't prove that. That's what I was seeing happening to my peers before I decided, like, I'm just done with this. I'm going to step away for a bit. Who knows when I'll go back. So that's where my personal bias lies. But the question of if you are falling behind, I think, like, I know this is going to seem like a lame answer, but I don't think thinking in those terms is helpful. I'll still try and answer the question. I'm not trying to get away from the question. I just want to step back and sort of meta-analyze that question. And the reason I want to analyze the question is because it implicitly creates some sort of competition or comparison, I guess would be a better way to say it. Because in order to be falling behind, there has to be like a goal, right? There has to be something to fall behind of. Like if you're thinking like, I'm behind, I'm not where I should be, well, there has to be a place where you should be in order to not be there. So what's that place where you should be? Is it at the same level of all your coworkers? Is that what you're picturing? Or are you picturing yourself interviewing a job and you're picturing yourself, you need to be above all the other people that are applying for the same job? If you're in a class, is it looking around the class and everyone's got a certain grade and you need to be at that level or higher? Because in some of those situations, it's interesting, like a class, if everyone's getting like 95% right, if you get an 80% or you get 100%, it doesn't take away from the other students' grades, right? It's not a zero-sum game when it comes to class scores. They're not divvied out like that. But when it comes to applying for a job, it kind of is zero-sum. There's not infinite jobs. So if you get the job, then some of the other co-applicants necessarily don't get that job unless they have like infinite recs at this theoretical company. I'm not saying it's wrong to analyze it like a competition. In certain situations, it definitely is. I'm just wondering if it's useful to think in those terms because I'm trying to think of how to word this correctly. The reason I'm saying it's not useful to think in those terms is because I think a lot of people think in those terms of comparison and competition without identifying the goal. And that's a really, really bad place to be in, where you're like, I'm not where I should be. Well, where should you be? Well, I don't know. It's like, okay, that's a huge problem because all you're doing is giving yourself a bunch of negative emotion without any sort of way of rectifying it. So you need to really figure out what are your goals. So if you're watching this, your goal might be, I need to graduate then. And am I going to be able to do that if I don't use LLMs? Or I need to be able to get this job. I'm applying. Will I be able to do that without LLMs? Or I need to be able to keep this job. I've had this job for a while, but now with the advent of AI and LLM programming, more of my coworkers are doing this. They're producing output faster, and I don't know if I can keep up. The question is, do you have to? And this is like, I know this is kind of like a lame answer, but it's going to like depend on the job. It's going to depend on your role. It's going to depend on the company and their values. Like, not every company is created equal. There are some companies out there that go AI first, where they're like, you got to use this, and you're going to be judged based on your token usage. I think that's the 2026 way of saying you're going to be judged based on your lines of code. And spoiler alert, I think that's one of the worst and dumbest metrics of this industry. It's so stupid that it's such a dumb way to measure output, because I'm not even going to get into why it's dumb. It's just so dumb. But I think token usage would be up there too. Like if I was going to judge someone's output at a company, I would want to see what projects they've done. I would want to see what code they've actually shipped. I want to see like the downstream effects of it. I don't want to see how much they've had a web browser open on their computer or how long they've been in Vim. Like, I don't care about those metrics. Those metrics don't matter. If you were coding for 20 minutes and your coworker was coding for 2 hours, but you guys both produced the same thing, that's what I would care about. So look at what I said right there. See that? If your coworker is able to do it with AI faster than you are, and you're not able to keep up, are you falling behind? In that scenario I just gave you, yes, technically you would be. Not trying to scare you. This is a nuanced question, and that's why I wanted to break it down this way. If you are at a place that just judges you based on your code, lines of code output, are you going to fall behind? Yeah, because you're a programmer. You're not a token emitter. These LLMs are token emitters. They are just going to be faster at it than you are. The same way a forklift is going to be able to lift heavier weight than a bodybuilder. The same way a car is going to be able to run faster than the fastest runner on earth. It's still Usain Bolt, right? I'll make sure I assume it's still Usain Bolt, right? I'll just leave this in the video. Who knows? I think you get my point. So like, you're never going to emit tokens faster than an LLM. I mean, I could take the yes command and write that out to a file and it will output the Y character faster than I ever could. Is that useful? That's a completely different story, because now you're talking about your job and what they value, the company values. Do they value those tokens? Do they value the tokens more than programs? There are so many things that go into it. Just realized my lights aren't on. Give me 1 second. There we go. That seems so much brighter. Oh, that's lovely. Also, I apologize if I'm sweaty. It's like literally 90 degrees up here. My air conditioner is not turning on, so that's really fun. I'll deal with that eventually. That's fun. I know this is a weird video, and this is probably deeply unsatisfying, and I completely get that, because the question is just vague as written, so I have to nail it down to specifics and give concrete examples to kind of get anything useful out of it. This is a question designed to derive clicks on the internet. I understand that I'm also responding to the question. It's only because I've gotten emailed and DM'd about it so much. I need to be able to point some people to some place. Be like, here, you want answers? Like, this is my video where I explain it. The truth is, like, really, when it comes down to it, companies are going to use different tooling. So there's generic tooling, like in the tech industry, there's some tools that are always going to be the same. Like if I go to 100 out of, like pretty much 99 out of 100 tech companies I could go apply for, they're going to be using GitHub to store their code. So you should probably know how GitHub works, things like that. A lot of the companies I encounter, and remember, this is me talking, this is your tech unk Dave, and I've been in the industry for 15 years, and I'm currently taking a sabbatical because I'm getting burned out by it. So again, consider your sources, okay? I'm not going to answer this for you. I'm going to answer this for myself because I'm an authority on that subject. I don't feel like I'm falling behind without it. I don't feel like I'm falling behind without it. In fact, with the advent of AI and the rise of all this stuff, I can tell you that my knowledge, my domain-specific knowledge and my mastery over the languages that I know has only helped me. And it has only further to divide. Like, it has made me, if anything, more valuable. But that's because I practice it. That's because it's like conditioning in the gym. Like, I go there. The same way I go to the gym and I run on the treadmill, like I go to the terminal, I go to Vim, I exercise that skill. That's a skill you can exercise. You can just be like, oh man, I wish I could do that. Well, then do something about it. I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean like you got to do something about it. You got to put your fingers to the keyboard and actually type. So I don't feel like I'm falling behind without using it. But again, it's my hobby. It's not my job. Maybe when I go back into the job market, I might feel that way. Maybe I'll end up hating this industry even more. I don't know. I don't know the future. But for now, I can just tell you the one thing I have authority over is myself. I didn't feel like I was falling behind. If anything, I do worry that the way I was seeing AI started to get used, this wasn't even the company I worked for, but this was just other people I had talked to who were in the industry. It seemed like it was furthering the divide. The people that were good programmers could leverage AI to do stuff even faster and be better at it. It was like a multiplying force. And the people who were bad at it just completely could generate the worst code. So when someone who's bad at it says like, Dave, can you review this? Typically they'd give me like 5 or 10 lines to review it. They were giving me like 500-page documents with all this comment. I was like, this isn't even your voice. Like, what am I reading? Like, this was easy for you to write and hard for me to read. Screw you. Like, don't give this to me. Like, no, show some respect if you're going to ask me to review your code. My point is though, it's not helping them get any better, but the people who are already good, it is helping them. So I'm going to make a crazy analogy here. It's eroding the middle class of programmers, and I worry about that. Are you specifically going to get left behind? If you use it to supplant your ability to think, if you use it to outsource your brain and your critical thinking skills, I think that's going to be bad. And I think that's going to make you, quote unquote, left behind in the industry. I don't even like using that terminology. I'm going to drop it. I personally have no desire to use AI or LLMs or any of that stuff, but I understand people out there do. I'm not even going to fault anyone for using it. That's fine. You do what you're going to do. I have my own thoughts on the ethics behind it. Like, we could talk about generative AI and using copyrighted materials there, but when it comes to programming, if you're trained on stuff that's released under an open source license, like what recourse do I have? Like, it's out there. You can use it as training material and you can generate it. And you don't even need a lot of power to actually generate. I can generate some of this stuff locally on my own machine. So the ethics around it could totally be the source of another video in the future. For now, I'm just going to say that that's not one of my biggest issues. I just don't find any joy in it. Programming is fun for me. I enjoy programming. So I don't feel like I'm being left behind because this is my hobby. This is not my job. When I go back into the job market, maybe I will feel that way. But right now, based on, I just got done working last month, this was April 2026, I did not feel like it was leaving me behind. However, I could see some junior level or intern level people. If you use it, I feel like you are not going to hone your skills and it's going to hurt you in the long run. That's my thoughts. I can't tell if I'm any different than the teachers growing up who told me I wasn't going to always have a calculator in my pocket, or if this is fundamentally different. It feels fundamentally different to me. But I'm sure a lot of this stuff felt fundamentally different to people before me, so I have to show respect for that. The truth is, I don't know. And when someone tells you definitively that they do know the answer, really be skeptical of them. Don't distrust them, just be skeptical. Trust but verify. Verify for yourself. The only fully confident answer I can give you is how I felt at the time. That's all I can do. How you're going to feel, I don't know. But what I will leave you with is this. If you feel like you're being left behind, this last thing is going to sound so weird, and I hope it doesn't come across as wrong, but like, the last thing I'll leave you guys with is if you do feel like you're being left behind, if that is a feeling that you have, spend some time to understand your feelings. I know this is going to sound like woo-woo mystical or even like a little go out there and zen and meditate, but like low-key, that's what I believe in. So like really sit with your thoughts, learn to meditate, learn to get rid of those feelings. Even if that is the reality of the situation, that negative feeling that you're bringing with you everywhere is not good for you. So learn how to deal with that feeling before you even deal with the reality of the world, if that even is the case. Because a lot of it may be in your head. I don't know for certain. I'm just saying carrying around a lot of those negative feelings with you are not going to help you. So I hope that didn't come across as condescending. That's not how I intend to come across. I'm giving you insight into how I think about these things. When I'm carrying these negative emotions with me that I actually don't have any control over, you got to learn to let it go. Not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. No, don't let anyone tell you it's easy. It's not. But it's worth it to spend time doing that. So, weird video. Hopefully this is useful for some people. Maybe this is just super weird. I have no idea. You guys let me know what you think about it. Check this out. You're going to be the first ones to see it. You ready for this? Patreon shoutouts. Of course, I got to give a shout out to my patrons over at Patreon. Look at this. This is the new and improved animation. We built this on stream. I uploaded a video where I show how we built this. It is a bash script that forks a Rust program that reads a CSV file and pipes that to a C program to write it out to the screen like this. Is it convoluted? You bet it is. It absolutely is. But it's a ton of fun to write this stuff. So again, no AI or LLMs were using this. We wrote it all from scratch. That's why we had a lot of bugs. Look at this. Look at this dude's name. Look at Dark Space right here, dude. He purposely signed up like this to mess up my script. He was on stream and signed up while I was streaming and writing this. And so Dark Space, really fun name, kind of apropos, because he is using zero width spaces there. And I'm taking the names directly from Patreon and just putting them on the terminal. So Patreon allows that in the name. I'm not doing any filtering on the name. Patreon allows that. In the future, I'll go through and filter the names because I don't want you guys writing weird stuff to my terminal. But how funny is that Patreon allows that? So yeah, there we go. Thank you everyone who signed up for my Patreon. I think it's super cool. If you want your name at the end of the video, go ahead and sign up for my Patreon. And let me know if you guys like these yappy videos or you want me to talk about other things, if you guys have other questions. I'm nervous about this video because people ask me these questions and sometimes I don't have what I would consider to be a useful answer. Because not everything I do on this channel is useful. Sometimes it's just fun. Sometimes it's just entertaining. Sometimes it's just for people who want to break from the monotony of the tech industry and they want to just remember that programming can be fun. And there are people out there who are passionate about it. So you let me know. Let me know if you guys like this. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. We already have 103,000 subscribers at the time of this recording. How awesome is that? That's so sick. The silver play button is coming today. I don't know what today's date is, but it's coming tomorrow. That's all I know. So when it comes, I'll post about it so you guys will see it. So yeah, thank you everyone. That's all I got. See ya.